Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to GA Drive Autos video series Discovery of the Week, and I'm so excited and super pumped being here to present to you what we found this week, which is a vehicle that has been in around and is made waves, is attained feats in the industry, especially when it comes to off-roading. And this vehicle, when it passes by you, gets you thinking. And some of the thoughts that come to mind is that what the hell did they do this car this way? Why did they design it that way? What makes these cars thick? You see, some of these questions come to mind all the time when what we found this week passes by you, and most often than not we just let go. We found one on sale. In fact, we found three on sale in Ghana here, and we decided to approach it and find out why it takes, why we ask those questions when they pass us by, and then we use that as a backdoor into doing an in-depth analysis on these vehicles that are produced by Chrysler and then FCA. So ladies and gentlemen, just give me the opportunity and I will present to you the reveal of the week, which is the modified 2017 JK Jeep Wrangler Rubicon off-road for sale. That is what we found, and this is a beautiful machine, out of the ordinary and very utilitarian, and has a very strong cult following. Okay, so I am going to go through this with all of you. These cars are great looking, they're nice looking, but before I do that, let me just ask you a few questions. Are you already a part of an amazing Jeep community, or you looking for an upgrade? Or perhaps you are completely a new person to the world of Jeeps and you are considering your first Wrangler. No matter what the situation is among what I've asked, you can't really go wrong with the Jeep Wrangler JKs, because they have a history of 75 years behind them, and today Jeeps are some of the most well-loved vehicles when it comes to off-roading, SUV compactness, and mid-size SUVs. Right, I'll let you in on a secret, and the secret is that once you get a Jeep, there is no turning back. Why? The Jeep community is filled with passionate off-roading aficionados, okay? A dash of healthy competitiveness, a little bit of mad, and tons of fun. Actually, people who own Jeeps don't crawl rocks on the highways. They look for them somewhere and go crawl them, which actually emphasizes the fun aspect of, okay, the Jeep community. If you've got your heart set on a Wrangler, there are two popular types that I'm going to tell you about, which is the Wrangler Rubicon and then the Wrangler Sahara. What we have here is a Rubicon, so the emphasis is going to be on the Rubicon, but we'll mention the Sahara in a passing. But the question is, what is a Wrangler Rubicon? The word Rubicon comes from the Rubicon trails in California, where some of these cars are manufactured. Okay, so when you come across a Jeep Wrangler that has Rubicon attached to it, what that simply means is that it is a top of the line Jeep. Okay, it is next to nothing, and it comes fully loaded, equipped with all the bells and whistles that you would need. And this particular Rubicon comes equipped from factory, ready to engage all sort of terrain, rock, mud. Every terrain is equipped with the necessary tools that you need to do the job. Okay, and next to this is the Sahara, which I usually say is a younger brother, or the Rubicon wannabe. And what we have here is actually the Rubicon top of the line that has been further enhanced and modified, and that's what we're going to talk about. These SUVs are classified as compact SUV for the two-door versions, and then the mid-size SUV for the four-door versions. Okay, so what we have is four doors. Okay, all of them are four-door versions, so mid-size SUVs for off-roading. And let me just talk about the powertrain, which is of interest to all of us. Actually, these ones have all done about 60,000 plus mileage in terms of usage, and they all sport the 3.8 liter V6 Pentastar petrol engine, which produces 285 horsepower, as we all know, and is mated to automatic transmission. But I know most of these ones come with a 6-speed manual WO transmissions, and they come with full 4x4 system integrations for off-roading, of which we'll talk about in the latter part of the video. Okay, it carries a sticker price of about $42,000, equivalent of about 250,000 Ghana cedis, which I believe is, I mean, competitive, because if you check the markets with all the bells and whistles and the modifications they've added onto it, I think it's competitive. But these are sticker prices. I'm sure you can do something about it if you are up for it. But in this video, I'm going to spotlight a few of the things that I saw about the car and then talk about it. If you think there's an area where I should have spotlighted and I didn't, you just put in the comment section and I'll handle it. Okay, then again, I'm going to talk about the interior. I'll talk about the extension, the suspensions a bit, and then I would also talk about the generations, the history, and then the sales numbers behind these cars and the direction that Chrysler and FCA decided to take these ones. And then lastly, I would actually mention 5 things that you need to know living with a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon modified versions. Okay, so let me just quickly go in and let's start with what we found. And now if you come to the front of the vehicle where the bumper is, I mean, they both, I think all of them carry modified bumpers, which focused on off-roading. Okay, and the bumpers are full width black front winch HD bumpers, which ranges between $295 for the lowest to $1,400 to the max. Okay, and these ones come winching equipped. Okay, so there is a winching equipment that is installed with it, and that those ones have a towing capacity of about 12,000 to 18,000. Actually, the one on my left will have more towing capacity than the one on my right, and the range should be between 12,000 pounds to 18,000 pounds. And these are aftermarket products, so Iron Cross can get you some, Fab 4 can get you, APG and Rhino, Go Rhino all do these aftermarket bumpers. So if you are looking at it, okay, now let's just do something. Try and compute all the add-ons and see if we can tell how much has gone in for the modifications, and see how the actual price would have been if it wasn't for the mods. Okay, now let me quickly turn around to the left, to the right. I don't know which is which to you, but to the fenders. Jeeps are not known to be so particular about giving you nicer fenders, because you need all the rotation angle for your wheels to be able to do your crawling and all that. Okay, later on in a video, I would show you what all those angles and spaces do for you when you are crawling. Okay, but for now, they don't pay so much attention to fenders. You can get the body flare fender, you can get the rubberized flare fender, but what I'm going to talk about right now is the fact that what these modified Jeeps are wearing is the Bushwalker flat style mud black fender flares. Okay, that is what they are wearing, and you can have them if you want to, and it will cost you as much as $370 for the preparation to $600 for how it's finished for you. Okay, now Jeeps are of high ground clearance because you don't defeat the off-roading purpose. Okay, now because of that, you need about 10.8 or more, 10.8 inches ground clearance or more, and so getting into your cabin is always a tough one. If you look at both vehicles, they all have side steps. I wouldn't say running boards because they are not running boards. They are side steps for you to get into the car and also maintain the ground clearance enough for you to be able to off-road. And the side steps that these ones are wearing are the hoop style black round side steps, which will set you back about $230. Okay, for trying to add these ones on. But look, when we went into the front of the vehicle, what came to mind when you saw the headlights? Didn't you like it? Yeah, you did. And those headlights are the 7-inch black round projector LED headlights with the switchback halos, and they look great. If we go back, as you're looking in the video, the tail lights are also modified. They are black fiber optic LED tail lights, which both will cost you about $400 to get them upgraded to this. Now, the hood on both, the one with the yellow markup and then the other one that I'm talking about, not the one on the rails, the one I'm talking about right now, I think the left one has the standard hood, which has been touched up a bit, but the one on my right, the yellow and the green color combination, has the X-Prize Avenger series hood, which comes unpainted for about $500. Okay, and they've marked the openings with yellow to give it a very nice combination. And if you look in front, it gives you an alligator look, sort of, in the headlights. Okay, and I think whoever did the aesthetic beautification on this car was had this in mind to end the beautification by giving it an alligator look in the eyes. I that's my opinion, though I don't know how you see it. Okay, right. So let's quickly talk about the rims and the tires. Okay, the one on my left sports the 5-spoke polished with gray vents alloy factory wheels. I think they have redecorated it by either dipsticking it into black. And then the one on my left, my right side, with the yellow and the green combination, has the 17-inch polished aluminum mineral gray wheels, which are wrapped with 32-inch BF Goodrich matte terrain tires that will handle all off-roading. But I think the color scheming has been modified to match the vehicle's general paint job, which is the yellow wheel caps in there. Okay, now that's great, but one thing I couldn't take my eyes off is the modified exhaust tips. Okay, which gives it a more beefier sound when you put it on. So the exhaust tips, that's you're looking at the green one. The green one has the stock exhaust pipe, but the one on my right and then the one on the rails all have modified exhaust pipes, which are the metal Malaysia stainless steel cutback exhaust system with split rear exits. Okay, so if you look at it, they are kill. I mean, they are really a kill, and it gives it a much more beefier sound if it's put on. Unfortunately, I couldn't get that aspect to add to the video, but that's what it is, and it gives it a more gangster looking sort of attitude, and that's what off-roading vehicles are about. It's about the stance that you carry and communicate to whoever that is looking at you. Okay, now the shock absorbers, I'll talk a little bit more about it later as to how it helps the car, but the yellow ones that you see are the standard monotube shock absorbers that come factory equipped and are capable of doing all off-roading. So I'll just talk about the suspension system in a jiffy so we can delve into details. But when you went back into the front part of the vehicle again, did you not see so much lights? What do Jeeps do with all these lights on them? I think it's a question that everybody keeps asking yourself when you see Jeeps with so much. You never really see them on roads on. But what we have with these two, or with these three, are modified. Okay, the generic Rubicons don't come equipped with these things. And what we are looking at is the windshield frame mounted C series 50 inches 300 dual row combo beam LED lights bar that is sitting on the windshields, okay, for all these cars, right? And then you drop down and you see the A pillar mounted 600 H series round spot beam lights that are also sitting on the A pillar and then on the roof carrier, okay, the roof cargo. Now then again, we have already spoken about the winch capacities, which is about 12,000 to 18,000 among the three cars. You also have the roof cargo baskets you can see up there, but there's something at the back that I was confused about. I'm sure you guys go back to the back of the vehicle and tell me. There's this wrench, a huge wrench-like thing that sits at the back of the vehicle. Okay, and I was wondering what it was. I couldn't figure it out, but well, later on my assertion was that it was a bike mountain rack or ski snow carrier. That is what I thought, but if you do know that it's something else, kindly let me know and put it in the comment section. I would really like to know so that we all add it to what we know now about the Rubicons. All right. Now the interior, I think we've already had a look. They are okay, standard to me. The wooden and the stitching. So the Rubicon compared to the Sahara is a bit more expensive because it offers additional features that are especially important for off-roading. Okay, now the Wrangler Rubicons come with manual doors and windows that are standard for the two-door model. However, the convenience package group is standard on the four-door that we have, which is the Rubicon Unlimited, and that convenient package includes power door locks, power windows, power heated mirrors, remote keyless entry for some of them, and a security alarm. The power convenience group can be added to the two-door versions though, but at an additional cost. And both the Sahara and the Rubicon also feature the comforts, basic creature comforts such as the leather-wrapped steering wheel, air conditioning, 8-speaker system, and the center console with lock-in package, which I believe it's not of so much concern to the owners. I think this exterior look matters to them more. This one comes with chrome door handles, chrome door hinges, so very visible on the external, which gives it a more aggressive look also. Now let me take my time and tell you what goes into the suspension, because that is what makes the car do this. These are the suspension components. It comes with a rock track 4 system, 4x4 system, the true lock front and rear locking differential, and then it sports the Dana 44 heavy duty axle, both front and back, and a front sway bar disconnect, which helps the car to do the magic that's with rocks. Now the Rubicon also has the suspension, performance suspension, as we've spoken about, the high pressure Moto 2 shocks and tunable valves. So all these things come in to help the car have so much ground clearance and good tiring, angling for rock crawling and all that. The Dana 44 duty axle not only reduces the joint angles of the drive shaft for better ride quality, but it also increases ground clearance, and traction is also increased by the true lock electronic remote locking differential. Okay, so when you have these things in a car, plus let me tell you one specific thing that the rock track 4 system has, which is the 4:1 low ratio gear that gives you more torque at the wheel and allows you to slowly crawl over rocks whenever it's needed. I'll show you how these things come to play in a jiffy, so you just hang around and don't quit. But let me just move on quickly and talk about the sway bar disconnect system, that you can disengage in the front sway bar automatically, and then when driving in 4 low mode under 18 miles per hour, it disengages to give you more torque at the wheels. This allows the front wheels of the Wrangler to drop and compress further, giving you more control of the vehicle when off-roading. And the Rubicon has the 73:1 crawl ratio for better rock crawling and off-road performance. Yes, with a hill assist that has also been thrown in. Even with the manual transmissions, you don't have a problem with crawling and climbing hills. Now I would just talk about the generations and the sales numbers. Like I've told you, the Rubicon rails in California is where the Rubicon got its tag from, and my assertion was that, look, Chrysler started doing this kind of Jeeps based on the CJ7, the civilian Jeep that came up with 1986. That's my assertion. But Chrysler and FCA have always denied that it wasn't what kickstarted it, right? So the CJ7 would be the start of it. Then in 1987 we got the YJ7. That's what you're looking at. Okay, after YJ7 we came to have the TJs, which is the 1996 models, and Chrysler and FCA actually sold 89,000 pieces of this in the whole of US, which was great. I mean, for a second generation vehicle at the time. Now the JKs also came up in 2007, which is about 11 years down the line, and they increased the sales by about 7,000 more pieces in US and Canada. So we had 96,000 pieces, 97,000 pieces approximately sold in Canada and in US. And then ultimately the JL were introduced in 2008, and it has had exponential sales from 96,000 to 240,000 pieces in US and 24,000 pieces in Canada. So together they are selling about 270,000 pieces in the whole of the continent. Okay, this is incremental growth, and it tells you how the love for Jeeps are growing, and also the incremental improvements over the years, in correlation to the sales numbers. What I'm simply saying is that the Jeeps continue to get better and better year on year, and that's how come the following continues to grow all the time exponentially. Now let me just quickly touch on the 5 things that I mentioned that you need to know leaving with a modified Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. The first one is that it's one heck of a hell to climb in, because the Rubicons come 10.8 inches off the ground. Okay, so if you change the tires and modify it to 35 inches, you add 1 or 2 more inches to the ground clearance, which takes it like 12.8, which will make climbing into your cabin one hell of climb outs all the time. Okay, the second point is that the Jeeps do not handle well on pavement because these cars are engineered for off-roading. The Wrangler is already tippy, steering feels numb, the directional stability has always been questionable, simply because it comes with off-road tires equipped with suspensions that are tuned and prepared for terrain and off-roading. So put that in mind. It will not do so very well as compared to others in the segment on pavement. Now, one thing that is an upside for you is that you don't have to think about potholes or created dead roads, because you can do 40 mph on surfaces that are like the surface of the moon and aplomb those surfaces. Okay, so simply put, don't have to think about potholes any longer. Now, the remaining two will have to do with money, and the first one is fuel economy. It gets worse when you add on and on and on, because the more things you add, the more your MPG is reduced. A normal Wrangler Unlimited with a V8 engine, V6 engine and automatic transmission will be doing an EPA of 16 and 21. That's city and highway, a combined 18.5 mpg, and the 4-cylinder one is what does a respectable 22 to 24. Okay, so the more you add, the more you destroy your mpg. Now, the last one is that it's really pricey. Now, the price ranges between 28,000 and 44,000 for what we are looking at. Okay, and to make it as formidable as what we are looking at, you probably need to put a whole of about $10,000 in your bank account to be able to get it that formidable. Okay, so it's pricey, but it is worth it if you do and you can afford. And for people who live in areas where roads are this bad, is the best. Now, to keep this vehicle good, well maintained throughout the years, you need about 25k to take care of gas, insurance, and repairs to keep it good. Okay, so these are the 5 things I think you should get to know and put in your head if you want to own one. And on this note, we bring today's conversation to an end. Thank you guys so much for staying with us. Let's